Hello, everybody. So this is just a really short kind of tutorial that's going to talk a little bit about good ways to find academic sources. And so I'm making this video first and foremost for my 300 level tourism and recreation class. So I'm using some of those examples, but I'm also going to probably give this link also to folks that are doing projects for my human geography class, because it'll still give you a good idea of how to find good academic sources. So a couple of different places to find good academic sources, and really one of the first ones is through the library. If you just go to the Keene webpage here, right, keene.edu, and you go down to the bottom, you'll see where it says Mason Library right here. And if you click on this, it'll bring up ways to search the library. And one of the real kind of easy, quick ways to do stuff is to look under this thing here called OneSearch. If you look underneath here and you type in a phrase, some keywords that are associated with your project, you can find some of the articles and books that the library has. So for this example, let's look under like tourism and rural, just to kind of get some good background stuff on rural tourism as an example. So I hit search. And you can see some of the things that come up here. There's one thing that says, rural tourism and sustainable business. Kind of broad, but possibly good. Rural tourism development, localism, and culture change. It's probably, it may not be exactly what we're looking for. This one's a little more interesting. Rural tourism, a solution for employment, local development, and environment by the World Tourism Organization. That might have some good information. And so now the question is this available here at Keene State? You can see some of these things where it says held by Keene State College, and some of these are ebooks. So like if you go and you click on it, you'll get access to it to the book through the internet, essentially, like an ebook. But on some of these, like this one, I'm not sure if that is available. Let me take a look. Okay, boy, it looks like most of the places are in places like Canada and Ireland and that kind of stuff. So now there is interlibrary loan, but at this point it's probably not necessarily something it's worth really going and getting. So it's probably good to keep looking at the different sources, see what is available here. So kind of keep a lookout for this held by Keene State College, either as ebooks or sometimes as print books. Like this one here is a print book, New Directions in Rural Tourism. It's from 2003, so a little dated, but if we click on that, it will give us where it is located. And so it says it is held. Let's see here. So I'm just going to close item detail and wonder if, let me see, I'm just going to go back and check. I'm going to check on one of these things where it says held by Keene State College. Okay, there. You click on that link, it comes up and it tells you this is an ebook, but if it was in print, it would give you the call number for where to find it in the library. Okay, so that's one place to find academic sources. And one thing that really makes a source an academic source means that it has gone through a peer review process, meaning people have read it, critiqued it, made sure that that the research and the conclusions reach a certain level of scholarly acceptability. And so it's not just like some person on a web page spouting what they think, right? That there's been some research process behind it and it's been vetted to some degree. So that's why it's important to find academic sources on some of these things. Now, another place to look is actually, let me go, whoops. Google's one place, but I'm actually going to take a look back at the Keene State Library page again. And the other thing you have here is databases and guides. And there are all sorts of different databases, and you can see you can browse them by subject. They don't have tourism here as a particular subject, but they do have geography. And so it will bring up the ones that will cover stuff that really is in geography. So you can see EBSCO is one of the ones. Web of Science has a lot of articles, JSTOR, and so if you and also these general databases are pretty useful too. Academic Search Complete at EBSCO, it has a lot of articles in them. So if we go there, it asks you for your last name and the card on your Keene State ID. Hit submit. And let it grind along, and then you go here, and then you can find, you can do different kind of searches up here by author, by throughout the whole text, or by title, or by subject. So like we can say subject, uh, tourism, and let's say event tourism, right? And then say or festival. And we want those that can be kind of anywhere, let's say maybe in the titles, something about event or festival. Okay, and hit search. All right, so it'll grind along here a little bit, and one of the first things that comes up evidently is something in Spanish. But over here you can see there's different source types: all results, magazines, newspaper, academic journals, etc. Click on academic journals. It will limit your searches to things that are, academic sources. The other thing we can do is put full text, meaning these are ones that we can get the full text available, is available. And the vast majority is going to be in English. I know the first one that pops up isn't, and some of the other ones are not. I'm not sure if there's ways to, here we go, language. You can limit and just say English. The vast majority are going to be in English anyway. And so you can look through and look at some different articles that are available that, these are very specific and probably not the kind of thing that we are looking for the tourism class. Wastewater quality in an urban area during a festival, might be a little specific. But you can take a look through, and then, of course, you can go back up and put more limiting things on it. Like we could say, maybe we want event, and instead of festival, we put rural or something like that. You can also, keep adding fields here too. So how about event and rural, so we get a little more specific. No results found. Right, fine. Let's just go with rural and sorry. That's and event. Because sometimes this kind of tourism is called event tourism. Okay, and so there's some stuff that pops up. Again, we want to limit it to academic journals. You can see we actually have a ton of articles here, 23,000. So we can go through and limit it again. But you can also find more specific keywords. We can look for things particularly in New England and put that up here under as something that's in the text somewhere, or geographic terms like, again, New England or New Hampshire. Look for articles that specifically look at tourism and other spaces here. So that's one way of doing searches. And if you go and you limit it to full text things like we've done here, then everything that you can find. All right, let's just take a look here. I'll hit full text, and it should show up right here for us, and we can print things out. We can also usually save these. So this is not necessarily an article we'd be that interested in, but just to give you an example. So the stimulating offer of rural tourism in Buda Village, Brazunti County. Possibilities of readaptation regarding the modern tourist preference. Wow, okay, that is much more specific than what we're after. This is in Romania. But anyway, you get the idea of, then you get the whole full PDF going on here. Okay. The other thing to try, if it's been difficult to find things in those, is just if you go to Google Scholar. If you go to Google and hit Scholar, that's obviously the first thing that shows up is Google Scholar. And you can type in keywords here. So let's do rural tourism, New Hampshire. All right, so assessing rural tourism efforts in the United States. This one might actually be useful. It's a little old, 1994. But they have all these different kinds of articles here. And then if you look on the right, you'll see some of them have a PDF link or an HTML link. Sorry, that one's behind my head. There we go. And so that means that you can get them directly from those links. Some of these other ones are not. And so one thing I would say is if you're doing research and you find something here where the title looks just really, really good and you're interested, but some of these journals may not have a PDF link. Some of these journals are kind of hard to get to. Send me the information, like we call it the citation, and I might be able to find that PDF online through a couple different sources that I have. So that's one thing to think of there. So what I did is, like, I did a couple different Google searches, right? So things like rural tourism in New Hampshire, and then Pumpkin Fest Keene, getting very specific. And there really wasn't a whole lot that came out, but this one here, the Two Communities, One Town, the Divided Culture of Pumpkin Fest 2014, is probably one that is definitely worth looking at. You can see that the PDF exists for it right here. Other examples of things, put in stuff looking at issues of, violence or disruption. So I just put in like riots and tourism under Google Scholar, and some things came up there. Safety and security in tourism, some other things. And so we'd have to pick through and figure out which articles actually look good. But one thing you can see here, there is certainly not a shortage of articles. This is Festival Tourism Rural. 44,000 results. Some of these are going to be more academic than others, but you can see all these different lists here, and some of them, a lot of times you can find stuff through ResearchGate here. So this is one of analysis of wine festival attendees' motivation. A little different than the kind of food tourism or kind of agricultural tourism that Pumpkin Fest was, but you can see that you can very easily get to the PDF of it, and then either, and download it, print it out, that kind of stuff. So it's just taken a while for the PDF to load, but it will work. There it is. And it even gives the information, right? And so they might talk about their methods and things like that, which might actually be very interesting, because this kind of special event tourism, even though it's wine and not pumpkins, might actually have some close similarities in terms of, and some things that we can learn from in terms of different methods and ways of looking at the impacts and reactions and all of that. Okay. So that is my little 10-minute spiel here on, or I guess 12-minute spiel on how to find some good academic sources. If you have any questions, of course, you can always email me. You can also look back through the video and see, if you're actually in the act of looking through some of those databases and need some help in terms of remembering what kinds of things to click on and how to limit your searches and all that. You can do that. So, all right, that's it, and I will see you all in class.